Welcome to the podcast of Chemical Engineering Life. We are here today with Anusha Bhatt, who is a chemical engineer and currently enrolled in the Erasmus Mundus Program for her master's. Thank you so very much for being here with us today, Anusha. And we are very happy to have you with us. And we have lots of questions to ask you about chemical engineering, about your education, and about your future plans. And I'm sure people are really curious to learn more about you. So before we begin, can you kindly tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Anusha, and I'm a chemical engineering graduate from India. Currently, I'm pursuing Erasmus Mundus master's degree, and the degree is called Bioseb. It's a mixture of chemical and biological engineering. And so I've been working before this for about 2 years, 1.5 year in a research institution, and then about half a year in a petrochemical industry. So I wanted to transition into masters after a bit of work experience. So I took a break after my graduation, worked, and then started my masters. So I'm right now in my about to start my third semester, and currently doing my 3-week internship in Norway. So that's about it.
Yes, thank you so very much, Anusha. Thank you. Um, you have had a very interesting career plan so far. So it's really, really amazing. And once again, thank you so very much for being here with us. And I think it's going to be more interesting to ask you the questions now. So let's get the ball rolling. And the very first questions that we would like to ask you are about your education background. So first things first, what motivated you to choose chemical engineering as an engineering major?
Well, I have to say this, that when I started out, chemical engineering was my second choice. My first choice was aerospace engineering, so which I didn't end up getting. And the next choice was chemical engineering, which I really love to get into. And when I had to go through the options, something which fascinated me was that every material or every product in the market, we need to have a raw material, a processing before, which can then be placed as a product in the market. So I was really intrigued by that. And when I looked for engineering options, this was always running in the back of my head. So what engineering can lead to something like this? This is a very cool thing to be understanding how the product is coming, where is it coming from. So this motivated me to take up chemical engineering. And that's how I started looking for colleges which have these degrees, because I know that there are very few colleges which offer chemical engineering in my state. So I had to really like make a list of colleges and then go through the course syllabus and stuff. So that's how I ended up being a chemical engineer.
Okay, so that's a very interesting journey and a very interesting way of choosing chemical engineering. So, but like just to follow up on what you just said, because chemical engineering can be defined in many different ways depending on how they see it, and especially what industry they're working in. So, in your opinion and experience, how would you actually define chemical engineering both as a major and then as a profession?
Well, for me personally, chemical engineering is a good blend of several aspects. Yes, it's not only about chemistry, it's about physics, mathematics, and also about mechanical engineering aspects. So we all know that all of these aspects are there in chemical engineering, but I also would like to add that even the economics and a little bit of marketing or business aspects are also good in chemical engineering. And this is why, because we always deal with processes and try to make it more economical and more efficient in terms of energy and also the resources that we use. So I would say it's a blend of several aspects. So it's a, I don't know, it's a very universal engineering field, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And the last word you used, I have actually heard that term being used for chemical engineers in many different occasions, them being called universal engineers. Uh,
Yeah.
but I guess you agree with that terminology as well. So that's great.
Yes, I do.
Then let's take a dive back into your both past and the future. So where did you go for your bachelor's and master degrees?
So I did my bachelor's in India and currently doing my master's in Europe. So my chemical engineering degree was in SDM College of Engineering and Technology in Karnataka state. And right now, I'm a part of Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Degree, which allows me to go and study in 3 different universities in 2 different countries. So, master's degree has been more of traveling along with study. So it's a mobility-based master's.
Amazing. I mean, that sounds like an amazing master, getting so much experience in your hand and going through so many different universities. And that sounds really exciting. But for the people who might not know, can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly is this program and from what countries and universities are you actually pursuing your degree?
Well, this is a Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree. It's called EMJMD, and it's funded by European Union for both European students and international students. So what one can do is they can visit 3 or maybe 2 universities, at least 2 universities or more, and then you can specialize in a certain track or specialized aspect of the studies. So my program it's more about valorization of biomass and understanding and scaling up the processes needed to produce biochemicals or biopolymers. Basically, anything about biofuels, biorefineries, anything is what I study. And then about this EMJMD, to be general, I should say that it's a mobility-based master's. That's how it's defined. So where you also get to meet different nationality people, and then you're exposed to different diverse environments, I would say, because you're visiting different universities. Also, you get to network a lot, which is great, and travel Europe as well. That's an added advantage for this. So that's all about EMGMD.
Yep. Well, thank you for that. And that truly sounds really exciting and a great and a huge learning experience, I would say.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that you are currently pursuing in your master's, you are specializing in biomass and biorefinery. Normally the question or when people have to choose what topic they want to specialize in master, that tends to be a very big decision, and many people they get confused a lot. Uh, so how did you make that choice of pursuing biorefinery and biomass, especially since you were working in petroleum before? How did that come into being?
Well, I would say that this was not my this is what I discovered as my interest, because when I was working before, I was working in a petrochemical company before joining masters, and that company gave me a lot of perspective, because I was working in the projects department and I was constantly exposed to the leading what do I say, the higher authorities, and they were always constantly looking for bio-based products and how can we switch from petroleum to something which is more sustainable, and also because the fossil fuels are going extinct and there are
Mhm,
several other aspects they have to look into because of the supply and
mhm,
all of that. So I was really intrigued by biomass valorization, and then this is how I started looking for masters which offer these kind of programs. And one of them was Erasmus Mundus master's degree, and this was really very well like it's a blend of so many aspects, and there's also the curriculum that is really well designed. So I was
mhm,
really intrigued, so I started looking more for such programs, and I started applying, and this is how I made a list of options that I was looking for, and then came up with the program. And
mhm,
in the program, we have 5 different tracks. So where we can choose one of the tracks as a specialization. So I also had to make a choice way before. So when I applied, I had to make a choice of which track I would like to choose.
mhm. Okay, well that's interesting. Thank you. And you're very right. Biomass and biorefinery, they are the way of the future, given the fact that we are depleting all of our fossil fuel sources. So, but like I said earlier, so that is a very exciting program, and it sounds like a great learning experience. And many people watching would be very intrigued to apply for the program and maybe also pursue the same path in the future. Could you tell us a little bit more about the entire process of applying and the requirements and so on, if someone was to apply for the same program?
So It's very simple in terms of application because there's a catalog of EMJMD on the website. It's by the name EMJMD. So you can open the catalog and there are a list of programs which vary from, it has all the programs from different fields. So there are programs with respect to sports, with medicine, with journalism, tourism. So it's not just about science. And there is also brain research, mathematics, space. So it's a blend of different programs. So anyone who is interested can take a look at the catalog and then go through the list of programs. And every program has its own website. So one can go there and look in detail for what the program has to offer, what kind of universities are involved, and what is the application process, because every application differs from each other. So you'll have to really closely look at the website that you want to apply to. And then once you decide on the programs you want to apply, you can start the process. And usually the documents like CV, SOP, letter of recommendation. So if there is any English proficiency test that you have to take, so that's also there. And then generally there can be an interview or there may not be an interview. So if there is a stage 2 selection, then it is through interview. Stage 1 is by all your documents and stage 2 is by interview. In my case, there was an interview, so I had to give an interview, and it was a really nice experience to get to know the program coordinator even before joining the program. And they were very warm and kind in the interview, and it was not very stressful at all. So then after the interview, when the results are out, so they can either offer you admit and give the scholarship, or just give the admit and ask you to self-fund if you're really interested to come. So there are different aspects in different programs. So it's always a good idea to take a look at the catalog first and then go to the individual websites to look more deeper in the program.
Okay, but thank you so very much, as that's a very good way of summarizing, and you've summarized it very well. And I hope the people that are listening and watching, they are really going to go and look up for the requirements. And just like Anusha said, you have to very carefully read through all the requirements and make sure that you are clear and very well aware of everything that they might need. So thank you, sir. Thank you so very much, Anusha. Well, then, moving on to about your internship. So have you had any internship while you were pursuing your degrees?
During my bachelor's, I had 3 internships, and right now I'm also doing an internship during my master's now. So right now I'm doing an internship at Norway, and it's called NIBIO. It's a Norwegian Institute for Bioeconomy Research. And this institute mainly focuses on something related to forestry, food, and all the resources that are there in Norway. So it's a government-funded institute, and I'm here doing my 3-week internship now. And before, in my graduation, in my chemical engineering degree, and I was about 3-week or 4-week internships. I've done about 3 or 4 week internships during my engineering as well.
Okay, amazing. So you have had a lot of experience, you could say, from the industry through these internships. But many students or graduates even, they tend to be quite confused about how to find these internship positions and where to apply. If you were to look back from in India, for example, how did you end up getting this internship? Was any platform that you used or any methods that you used to apply and find them?
I would say LinkedIn is a very nice tool to look for internships and also to connect to people, especially the ones in industries. So they have the LinkedIn profiles, so that you can send them message and look for positions as well. But other than that, every industry will have its own website, and they also have positions offered there. But in my case, what I always do is look both in websites and in LinkedIn, and then try to also connect to people and then talk to them and really tell them my interest, so that if there's any vacancies, they can really offer it to me.
Okay, amazing. And then for your current internship, like you got that in Norway, which is again, it's pretty amazing that you got something very relevant to what you're studying. How did you come about that position? Did you also do it through LinkedIn or any other method?
Well, particularly this one, it was something which my program coordinator put
Mm-hmm.
up a advertisement kind of a thing in the email for all of our students. And then we had a short interview where the the internship coordinator tried to really know us and ask us our interests and what is the aim of doing this internship. And then we were selected. So this was not through LinkedIn, but I did definitely send a lot of requests through
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, and I gave some interviews as well for internship. So I would say this one particularly was through connection, like contact.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much for sharing the tips. But then, what have you been doing at your internship? Sorry, for in all of your internships, what sort of tasks do you end up getting and responsibilities that you are assigned?
Particularly for the one that I'm doing now, I'm visiting some different waste wood collection centers and trying to understand different types of wood, and then sorting the waste wood and trying to understand where is it coming from, the different types, and how could it be recycled, and basically trying everything about wood. So this is a very introductory phase because it's just been 1 week, and it's
Mhm,
a 3 week internship. So nothing much
mhm,
can happen, but still it's a very good base for me to
mhm,
understand my uh, courses in the next semester because I will be studying about wood.
mhm,
So this acts as a very nice experience for me.
mhm.
So I basically study about wood.
Okay, well, but that's good because that, so like I said earlier, that's very relevant, and just like you said yourself, it will really help you understanding your courses in the coming semesters. But do
Yeah.
you feel that when you do these internships as a student, either like the one that you're doing right now or the ones that you did before in your bachelor's, uh, th- do you really get some real life experience out of it? That's something that you have used later on in your career in the job or even right now in your master's?
Yes, internships are a really nice way to see things that you have already learned in the books, but also it's a nice way to connect to industry professionals, learn from them just by talking to them, both technical and also something which is beyond technical, just the way how industry functions, and some social skills to pick up from, and also some networking that you can do there during your internship, so that even for the next stage of your life where you want a job or maybe a master thesis position, so you could approach them, and because you have been an intern there, you will really know what is happening, and you can go to similar industries, and that experience comes in handy. So internships are a really great way to give a real experience of how the industry functions and what mishaps can happen and how it's tackled.
Mhm. Okay, thank you so very much, Anusha. Well, then, then moving on from your internship, then let's take it a step further and back to your job experience. You mentioned that once you did your bachelor's, you went and worked in the industry for a few years. So, w- going back in time, what was the very first job that you did right after graduation?
It was in a research institution in India.
Mm-hmm.
It's called IIT Madras, and I was a project officer, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was constantly in coordination with an industry that was sponsoring the project at IIT Madras, and I had to carry out experiments and report to them every fortnight with a presentation. So it was a really nice experience for me because I had both industry partners listening to me every
Mm-hmm.
fortnight and discussing the results with me and suggesting way the next steps that I can take. And this was every fortnight. So I really had a
Mm-hmm.
nice interaction with with industry professionals and also my supervisors at IIT Madras. So it was
Mm-hmm.
both a very nice experience because there was an industry and a research institution involved, and this
Mm-hmm.
was my first job. And after that, I transitioned into working in a petrochemical industry. So it was a very nice experience of both worlds, I would say.
That's amazing. That really sounds like a great position to start your career with. But again, coming back to the earlier question that I asked about the internships, what platform did you actually use to find this job, and where did you apply for it?
So usually there are professors who are on LinkedIn again, and they advertise on LinkedIn. So you can keep checking, but also there are websites for these research institutions where you can go and keep constantly looking for vacancies because it's high advertised there. So if you have also been in contact with any of the professors personally, you can send them an email and keep in contact with them to ask about vacancies that may come up for. So basically it's a blend of many different platforms, but keeping constantly looking for it can help in getting such positions.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you so very much for that. But then, in your very first job, and then later on again as what were the typical responsibilities that you were assigned as a graduate, as the person really starting your career?
So during my work, it was mostly about first of all doing experiments and trying to maintain the records of the experiments and maintain the data of the experiments and analyze them, and also report to the managers or supervisors who I was assigned to. And mostly it was also involved, I was also involved in making presentations of the data or analysis that I've made. So it really gave me a different perspective because it's just not showing what you have got as a result, but trying to convey to someone who was not involved in experimentation. So it's a really nice experience where you can get to know both technical skills and social skills. So I was involved basically in communication of results and also carrying out the experiments.
Hmm. Okay, amazing. That really sounds that really sounds exciting. But if you were then to summarize your experience in the industry, what do you feel were the five hard skills and five like soft social skills that you had to use at your workplace?
The first thing I would say is communication skills, because you need to really talk to people every day and try to understand the problem and also get the data and then do experimentation and communicate back the results. So it's more of communication and also time management, because I would say when you have limited time, for example, when I was a project officer in IIT Madras, I had to have something to tell every fortnight. So it's not easy with having experiments that can go wrong or fail, and then you still have to report it. So you need to really know the value of time that you have,
Hmm.
and also the discipline, because when you plan, you have to plan for everything. Plan A, B, C. If this goes wrong, what I have to do. So this is one thing I learned there, and I was constantly exposed to PhD defense or master defense. So I was constantly listening. So I would say listening was another skill that I picked up, because listening can give, it's a great way of gaining knowledge as well. So these are some of the skills that I picked up there.
Okay, amazing. I really hope the people that are listening and watching it, graduates, you're really going to focus on these skills because just like you said, these skills are very important in order to succeed in the industry. But then, so you have done your bachelor's, you are right now doing your master's, you have had a lot of internships, you have had a great deal of job experience after your graduation. So you have had a very good career so far as a chemical engineer, but you're still looking down a very long and a very successful career ahead. So just to talk about now that you're finishing up your master's, what opportunities do you see for yourself in the future?
I'm interested in going forward with the research and development sector,
Mhm.
but I don't hold myself back for exploring more options. I'm also open to process engineering options, or maybe even waste recycling, waste management kind of positions.
Mhm.
So basically, I'm looking for any kind of opportunities. And in terms of job positions, I would say I'm mostly interested in bio industries, biochemicals, biopolymers, and also maybe PhD positions in the same area. So these are basically, I'm open to looking what the world has to offer.
Okay, amazing. And I must add that any industry and company will be lucky to have you. But having said that, people say that learning and self improvement is a lifelong process. you learn something every day. Uh, Especially for graduates, it's always a question of keep learning so that they can really stay up to date with the industry. But in your case, after graduating, after bachelor's and also now that you're doing your master's, have you updated your portfolio for the job search in terms of taking any extra courses or certification?
I try to keep updated with certifications from Coursera or
Mm-hmm.
from other course that are offered elsewhere. But also, I try to attend conferences because that's a great way of understanding what the research is, the latest research in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And also try to just have a conversation during conferences, not just attend the conference, but also
Mm-hmm.
have the chance to know the speakers personally by sending them LinkedIn request or also directly going and talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very nice way of connecting to them, I would feel.
Mm-hmm.
And certifications, yes, that plays a very important role. So I have tried to do some certifications even on aspects like patents, trademarks, just to understand how things work. So not just technical, but also try to go beyond and do certifications of other things that are closely related with chemical engineering.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that sounds really great. Thank you. But now that you are in soon, you're going to be applying for positions once again once you finish your master's. Uh, if I was to ask you right now, how do you see yourself? Like, what do you feel makes you different compared to the other people that might be applying for the same positions that you'll be applying for?
Uh, I would say that because of my varied, like a
Mm-hmm.
diverse experience portfolio, I can be a good choice because I've had a work experience in petrochemical industry. I've also had a chance to work in a research institution, and now with a mobility-based masters, I'm connected to different people all around Europe. So I would say it's a good blend of industry research and also with the connections all throughout Europe. So that can be something, an added advantage, I would feel, when a
Mm-hmm.
student is really connected, well connected, and also really interested and invested. So I can be a good, I don't know, option as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I fully agree. I fully agree. But then, if, for example, if you were to tell the graduates and students that are just about to graduate, what
Mhm.
do you feel that is something that they should be aware of before they go into the job market, like in terms of CVs, cover letter, just like you yourself said, connection with different industrial professionals. What would you suggest for them?
I would say do more of courses, certifications, but also have some time to go and visit industries. Try to take more initiatives and approach industries and ask them for, even if it's a visit or a short term internship, it's fine. But try
Mm-hmm.
to go beyond and look for things that may not be available in the platforms so
Mm-hmm.
that you really can get the you can get the real life experience. And also attend, if possible, some summer schools so that you come in contact with people from other universities and try to go and attend the events from other universities. So it gives a all around experience of the field that you want to venture into.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, and I'm sure students they are going to really value the tips that you've given here. But to build up a bit more on suggestions from you, anything you feel that someone should have told you while you were in school, right before you graduated, what would that be?
Well, I would say that maybe I should have visited more events and summer schools because yes, I had internship and I had some other connections which I made during internship, but still, I think I should have done it more so that I could get some more experiences out of it and try to go and visit some industries, not just internship, but just go and visit and ask them for a day visit or just to go around the industries. I know it is really difficult to get inside the industries because a lot of permissions and safety issues are there. But if I could take more initiatives and if I had known that that would be helpful in my future, then maybe I should have done it more.
Okay. But lastly, what core skill or what one skill that you would point out that you feel that the students and the graduates should be focusing on right now?
Uh, I think I would say first thing is network, not just
Mhm,
in your field, but try to network with people even in the other fields that are closely
mhm,
related to you,
mhm,
because that gives you the picture of how you will be in contact, or maybe where you stand when you start working.
mhm,
So when we try to look out after graduation, what helps is both technical skills and networking. So that's a very good way of going about. So I would say just after graduation, don't immediately like without any exploring, just don't think there's only one way to go.
mhm,
So try to meet people, contact them, and know different options, and then make a decision.
mhm. Okay. Well, thank you so very much for that suggestion. And all the people that are watching, if you are about to graduate, strongly follow what Anusha just said. But then with that, that concludes the all the questions that we had for you, Anusha. Is there something else that you would like to say to other chemical engineers in the field?
Yes, I would say try to go beyond chemical sometimes. For example, economics and
Mhm,
business, marketing, these can add value to the technical skills that you have, so that you can be more employable in industries, and also may not be maybe not just about employment, but because you're doing chemical engineering, which is in relation with products and society. So understanding that will give you a different perspective of what you're studying. And maybe
mhm,
when you design something, it will be more efficient and cost effective, and also more sustainable, because we know that right now
mhm,
sustainability is what we have to strongly look into.
mhm,
So understanding that would add to your portfolio.
mhm. Amazing. Thank you so very much, Anusha. That is a very wise words, and thank you so very much for telling that to everyone. And just like you said in the very beginning of the interview, chemical engineers are universal engineers, so they they should take that opportunity and learn about everything because they can do that. But goes without saying, thank you so very much, Anusha, for giving your insights to all of the questions. And I'm certain that your answers and insights will help, definitely help many chemical engineers that will watch this interview with you. And we honestly cannot thank you enough for your time and the wonderful insights that you have given. And we wish you the very, very best for your future career. And that's it for the day. Thank you to everyone that came here for listening. And I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It was a really pleasure talking to you.
Yes, it was the pleasure was all mine. Thank you, Anusha.
Thank you for listening. And if you have not done so already, remember to become a free member at Chemical Engineering Life. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and stay tuned for more upcoming podcasts with chemical engineers. Thank you and have a great day.